from different places, we all have different names. No matter what life brings us, Jesus is the same. We're just your Methodist to the madness. Methodist to the madness.
Happy Tax Day,
Oh yeah.
everybody.
Day.
Oh, wasn't it wonderful? We paid our
I
taxes.
feel like taxes were paid, or people received money from doing their taxes.
Yes, good citizens.
Good
We
citizens doing their United States of America duties.
yes, that is very good. I'm really
Yes.
glad that we well, I guess everybody listening to this will have passed tax day. But today is tax day for us recording here, just so
Yeah.
everybody knows.
So if you're listening to this and you haven't done your taxes,
You're late.
Yes, that sound effect certainly spelled it out.
or I hope you requested for an extension.
Yeah. So if you did your taxes or you requested an extension, it's ta-da!
That's exactly what I was going to say, Tim.
I don't think my dog liked your ta-da. I don't think you can hear her barking because Zoom has taken that out of the equation. So it just
Yes.
makes me look like I'm a crazy person when I'm yelling at my barking dogs. But anyway,
Yes.
when you said ta-da, my dog Jamie like ran to the garage door and started barking at it. So
Really? Whoa.
get out of my garage, Tim. Probably.
Or maybe Jamie was doing a magic trick and was disappearing because you said ta-da.
Maybe, perhaps.
I'm going to go with that one.
Yeah.
That makes
Well,
good sense.
How are you guys doing? Beth, how's this past week been for you?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, it's been a doozy. I've got a lot of stuff coming up. I'm writing down what I planned on talking about, and I'm still writing stuff down.
That's all right.
So
Actually, this whole podcast episode is transcribed. Or wait, no, it's a wait, not transcribed. What am I talking about?
there
Are you
it's
etching it on stone, Tim?
Apple
yeah, it was
Podcast
one of those things that
transcribe them now.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
those court reporter ladies.
Oh yeah. Right.
Oh, I
But
want to know how those things work.
what
like
wait,
the
was
TV
transcribed
show.
the right word though? I think it was. No, a transcription. Never mind. Please continue.
I hope somebody could transcribe all of that because that was fun.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna preface by saying, yeah, it's been a rough couple weeks over here. Having a teenager is not for the faint of heart. That's all I'm gonna say. So there's that.
Mhm.
And it's coming up to a point in my life where like all of the things that I've been planning for these past couple months are now coming up in the next couple weeks, and it's like the plans start coming and they don't stop coming.
Right.
But that was a shout out to Smash Mouth a little bit.
Yes.
That guy passed away recently, and by recently I mean like a few months ago. The singer of Smash Mouth.
Oh my gosh.
And the line is actually the years keep coming and they don't stop coming, something like that. And it actually made me glad that his years did eventually stop coming.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh yeah. That's a really important observation.
So Pastor Jim's gonna know what this means, but I've declared today for the podcasting sake, today is a Beth day for me. And
Oh.
when I'll explain a little bit. when before the pandemic and even during the pandemic, I was doing scripture journaling. We used to meet at Starbucks at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then read the scripture, and then we'd all discuss. There were lots of like jokes and stuff along the way, but it was basically read scripture, discuss scripture, go home. Lots of laughing in between. And some days I would not have, like, some days my brain just didn't want to do anything. Like, I would open up my Bible and be like, I can't, I'm getting nothing. And so I would just decide, this is a Beth day. I'm not going to write anything. I'm just here to soak it all in and hear what everybody else has to say. And so if anybody came to scripture journaling that day and wasn't prepared, they would say, I'm taking a Beth day. So that is me today. I did listen to the sermon, but it was like, I think you two of all people will understand. Have you ever tried to read a book and then you realize you're reading the same page over and over and over again?
Yes.
Yes.
It's crazy.
That happens, and I realize that I am not only not going to remember what I've just read, but I'm also asleep.
Well, that's how I listened to the podcast. I was listening, the words were coming, and we'll just see how much I retained when we talk about it later.
Okay.
Which I don't think was a lot, but I'm just here for you. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, it's a Beth day.
It's a Beth
what is
day.
it? Sermon feedback. I really like that. That's awesome.
I spent a lot of time cleaning for a sleepover that Owen had, and I gotta, clean up the remnants of the sleepover, because then that means I just cleaned my house for it to be a mess like 2 days later. So I'm gonna try to work on that.
Yes.
Amber came to crochet or the quilting / shawl ministry, and I taught her something, and that was exciting to me.
Oh, that is so
She's been
nice.
sending me updates, and I love it so much.
Yeah, I totally forgot that crocheting was on the 14th. And by the time I remembered, I was already at the park with my dogs and my mom. And it was like horrible, because I'm like, oh man, Beth was going to show me something really cool that involved the yarn not falling off.
We did talk about you a lot, Tim. And
oh, that's nice.
and I was like, I think Tim might be showing up, and I was like, but I don't know what time. And then Amber was like, he'll be here at 10 o'clock. And then 10 o'clock came and went. There was no Tim. I listed a bunch of stuff, but I'm not going to talk about all of it, I don't think. But after that, I saw a sneak preview sort of the SpongeBob musical, and that is going to be amazing. Like, I'm so excited to I'm so excited for everybody to see it. The people they got to play these parts, like, they really nailed it. Like, the guy who plays Patrick is Patrick, as far as I'm concerned.
Wow.
It's really funny, and I think people are going to enjoy it. And I started really getting into making the props. So I started the props grind for that.
Excellent.
And then I wanted to share another thing. Did we talk last week about packing for trips? And
yes.
And
yeah.
Because you pack while you're in the Uber.
In the Uber, yeah. I
Yeah.
was really confused because I say so many things and I forget what I've said, what other people have said. And then I got a text message from Pastor Jim last night that confused me at first, but then it made me laugh. He was like, Decided not to wait until the Uber ride to the airport. Just finished packing for my trip. And then he told me, his travel plans and when he expected to leave and all this. And I was like, wait, he's not gonna wait for the Uber? Oh, now I remember.
He's not gonna leave.
So I just wrote back, ha 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 ha. You're good at stuff. I'm thinking about getting ready to do some laundry. So that's as far as my packing has gotten. That was yesterday. I'm still thinking about getting ready to do some laundry, and that's where I'm at. Last but not least, I'm really, really, really excited to share this with all of you. Let me I want to get everything right. So I'm trying to find the Facebook post. Okay.
Oh,
So remember my friend Lucy
yes.
with
Yes.
cancer? She had a PET scan done to see if the cancer had spread or blah blah blah. And she just got the results, and I'm gonna read you what they are. So she says, "Oh my goodness, I have the absolute pleasure of telling you all that I am currently NED, which means no evidence of disease. My PET scan
Wow.
was clear and showed a total response to the chemotherapy. This is the greatest news one could hope for with stage 4 cancer. I'm completely thrilled. I was hoping for this, but trying to bring myself down to earth and be realistic, but it is really happening. Of course, this
Wow.
isn't the end of my cancer journey. Moving forward, I'll continue my immunotherapy infusions every 3 weeks. I'll continue to get PET scans every 3 months, but I feel like I've got my life back. And tonight I'm celebrating."
Wow. I'm so
Yay.
happy to hear that.
It must
Oh my
have been the
gosh.
prayer quilt that we gave her.
I think it was. Jody brought that up Saturday, whatever days are at the quilting event.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh
Wow.
yeah, I remember. It was the cutest blanket. Anyway, I'm so
Wow.
sorry I didn't mean to go on forever.
No, that's
No,
awesome.
well, you're always welcome to go on forever, Beth. I'm always happy to listen to you at any time. But
And I can
that
always turn
last
off my computer, so that's fine.
no, but
Hours later.
I'm so
Yeah.
that honestly made my evening to hear that about Lucy. That is so
Yeah.
wonderful. I'm
I
so
had
glad.
I had another friend. She's still living. We're just not friends anymore. Who also had stage 4 cancer. Not breast cancer. I think it was I should remember. I don't. It was like ovarian or I don't even remember. But she also had stage 4 cancer, and also they were also able to remove it all. And she's been this was probably like 8 or 9 years ago. She was diagnosed with cancer, and she has to get the scans every year. And I think when you are 5 years or more with scans that show no evidence of disease, then you can officially be called in remission.
Oh, okay.
But
I
I don't
see.
know if that's the same. Maybe they've changed it, but that's what I know from her. If it's 5 or more years, yeah. So continued
That's
prayers for Lucy. And
Yeah.
I apologized for talking on, and I'm still talking. So
you're fine, Beth.
Jessica,
This is
I'm
Beth
gonna
Day.
go Jessica and then Tim. We've never done
Yeah.
this order before.
All right. This is a very special episode.
I feel so off kiltered. I think that's the right word. I
Off
do want to
kilter.
I think
say
you're looking for transcript. Just kidding. Please
Yeah,
continue.
yeah,
I
like
feel
saying
so
transcription like
transcribed.
5 times and whatever.
Yes. Speaking of Amber going to the Shaw Ministry on Saturday, I am not kidding. This lady will not quit crocheting. Her little
Wow.
yellow string that she originally sent me that we have yet to name uh, has been growing, and I don't know what it's gonna be, but she,
Love
was
it.
telling me like, yeah, see, there's like a difference. There's I'm see how the yarn is getting tighter on this side. It's because anyway, I guess she's getting better, which is always a good thing.
Oh,
So
Oh, wow.
so it's really cool because I love when Amber finds things that she gets really excited about because then it makes me happy. Um,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
but let's see what's been going on this past week. Well, we put a lot of insulation in my new shed. There's still more. We need to buy like one more bag of insulation. But we've been putting up drywall, which drywall does two things. One, looks cool on the inside because it obviously covers the gross looking insulation. But two, it also dries out your hands. So I'm like, maybe that's why it also is called drywall. But
Oh.
anyway,
They called
You're
drywall.
so it's been a lot of fun. Earlier today we were putting more drywall up and we're realizing we have no idea how to measure things in terms of like we can mark down where it's supposed to be cut with the utility knife, but in terms of saying it's 34 inches and a quarter, whatever, we don't know how to say those things. So we go, it's 3 notches left of 34. That's how we communicate measurements.
It's just a
So
different language, so
That's
it
how
no
is.
they
problem.
communicate like at sea too. That's how they tell people that they're turning left. It's 3 notches
Yeah,
3 notches west. Yeah,
west.
indeed.
depending on where we're
Yeah.
facing. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Uh,
I know a lot about being at sea. Please ask me questions if you have any.
yes, yes. One area where we need to put on brave pants for is there's the ceiling goes up to about like 12 feet or so, which means we're both gonna have to be on either side of the ladder that high off of the ground to put up this heavy drywall. And we're definitely saving that part for last. Um, so we're a little bit, anyways, we'll get there. But for now, we're almost done with the areas that we can mostly reach, at least with a small step ladder. So it's really exciting. This
Yeah.
coming together. Uh, anyway, that's really been like the most exciting thing this past week for me.
Jessica, the
Else?
two my two favorite things from that story is how you mentioned that the insulation did not look pleasant, and so covering it with drywall was a good idea. And then the second thing was putting your brave pants on. I'm gonna
Yes.
remember that.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I like that you said brave pants and not what people usually say, which is
Oh,
big girl pants.
oh, okay. I thought you
I
were gonna
like
say
brave
scaredy
pants.
pants.
I like brave pants way better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes, and maybe they come in like the shape of shorts, you know?
Me
Mm-hmm,
too.
Maybe they're like
Yeah,
brave shorts, and maybe they're my Crocs. Maybe I put on my brave Crocs.
I wear
Whoa.
That's
brave
what
dresses because
brave,
sometimes I don't want to coordinate two different things to put on my body. If I
yeah,
put
so
a dress on,
maybe
that's only one thing to think about.
yeah.
But
So
then
maybe
there's the whole thing, so
I'll
never mind.
borrow one of Beth's brave dresses and I'll be able to put up the drywall in my shed.
I I have just the one in mind for you, Jessica.
Perfect.
Narrator, she did not.
Oh, that's awesome. I feel bad for
I
whoever's
do. I have a
transcribing
dress
it.
for you. It's a
Great.
denim dress. Yep. I
Perfect.
there
Yeah.
jacket dress, and then I was like, I have a denim vest. That's the dress for Jessica. That's
Yes.
Jessica's brave dress.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might take time for me to wear that. Yes.
Yeah, that's really
Or
funny.
use
But
what works for you, Jessica.
Yes. I will sew them into pants.
Great.
will become a jumper.
Um,
Yeah.
I wanted to add that sometimes I feel brave when I brush my hair, so I have like the brave comb in my backpack, and every time I brush my hair, I become more brave. It's pretty neat. I like
That's
it.
great, Tim. And I also am a little bit concerned that you have to become brave just to brush your hair.
No, it's the other way around. After I brush my hair, I'm more brave to handle
Okay,
all the daily
gotcha.
things.
Gotcha.
It
Well,
was
how has
oh
this past week been for you, Tim?
um I was gonna share my most recent insight, but I feel like I have to move my story around a little bit because Beth had mentioned that Smash Mouth passed away a few months
Sorry.
ago, and just this is the strangest coincidence ever. I just saw Shrek 2 on Saturday in the movie theater this
Oh,
this past weekend,
wow.
and the first Shrek is so well known for the
That's
Smash Mouth song in the very beginning of Shrek 1.
Yeah.
So like that's just crazy. That's just a remarkable coincidence. But yeah, I thought Shrek 2 was an amazing movie. I actually completely forgot it. Apparently I saw it like 6 years ago, or I don't know, some arbitrary like large amount of years ago.
Yes,
But
it is not a recent release. That is correct.
right, right. But for some reason, I've seen Shrek 1 over and over and over again, probably because I had it on a DVD when I was a kid. And so I always kind of had that like nostalgia for Shrek
Yeah.
1 and didn't really think much of Shrek 2. But honestly, now that I saw that Shrek 2 in the movie theater, I think it's like really, really good. Like, just like Shrek 1, but it's a different kind of story. So for anybody that hasn't seen Shrek 2, I highly recommend it. It's just a funny, like fun, touching movie. And you get to see all your favorite Shrek characters again and all the fun, like the just unusual, like humorous things associated with the fairy tale creatures. And so yeah, it was really neat. So that was definitely a highlight of my Saturday. So to
Hey,
share
Tim,
my
hey, can
what
I recommend another movie for you?
what please.
Shrek 3. You'll love it. Continue.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was planning on watching Shrek 3 now that I like Shrek 2.
Yeah,
Yes.
my kids really liked the Shrek movies, and they're always trying to trick me into watching them.
Right. Nice, nice.
And and
Yeah.
and I always quote Shrek. My favorite Shrek quote is "Better out than in." That's what I always say.
Oh my
Say that a lot
God.
in my house. I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Oh
What else
no,
is going
no
on, Tim?
problem at all. Actually, speaking of quotes, I don't know why, but I always keep thinking about that quote from Shrek where he's like, ogres are like onions. And then in fact, I think there was an episode of the podcast where I had said something about onions and like something, you know what? I don't know how that would I will continue. I think I think I got the onion on what I was saying, and so I was not able to continue in a normal fashion. So um, so the insight that I wanted to share is actually kind of relating to last week, where I was talking about meditation, and I was just trying to think of some sort of creative way to understand it. I guess it's like the Tim creativity. We had Beth Day, now we have Tim creativity, I guess. Uh, and I came to a conclusion that I've never come to before, and that's first of all, I think there's just like generally it's difficult to find like an exact understanding regarding meditation. Like it seems like people write about it differently and so forth. Like if you read about mindfulness meditation, like people are legitimately recommending sometimes to like focus on your breath, and then others are like, oh, focus on how you feel, and so on. So ultimately, I just got confused and went back to something that I had always thought of, but I have a new like positive outlook on it. And therefore, it's life changing. So in the past, I said something about like doing nothing. And then just recently, I said something about boredom. And now, just recently, I discovered a new term that I've never used before associated with those two things, that is doing nothing and boredom. And that's being idle. So idleness, right? So
Yeah.
I was able to actually find some like legitimate like I don't know, writings on this. And people were like, oh, it's really beneficial to be idle and so forth. And I'm like, you know what? This is awesome. And it's basically a more positive way of looking at doing nothing. And somehow it just became like a lot more interesting. Like suddenly it's not really exciting to be idle, but like just a really cool like way that you can kind of like relax in between activities. Like you're not doing nothing, you're just being idle. Like you haven't actually like legitimately made a decision to do something yet. So you're just going to be idle. And that's actually been so helpful for me the last like this past work week. Like if I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do next at work, then I'll just sit there for like maybe if just a few minutes, and suddenly I have like insight about what I'm going to do next. And it's just like really neat. So like we have so much stimulation in our technological world that I think it's just a good idea to like sit down and like just be idle more or less. So that was a really big thing. And then what's really funny is just recently like several days after this, I started reading that book, Education of the Will, again. The one that talks about like effort and work and like exercising willpower and so forth. And he was actually saying that idleness is something that we are like inclined to do, and therefore we want to kind of break out of that and expend effort on things. And so it's kind of funny that I was thinking about idleness in such a positive light, and then he's kind of like saying it in a more negative fashion. So I'm like, okay, let's take the best of both worlds here and say idleness is something that we do when we're legitimately like not able to do something useful. But then what he's saying is we want to expend effort on things that matter. And so, like, I don't know if I found some sort of silver lining here, but he was talking about it in terms of like, we don't want to just go from like all the things that we normally do with ADHD, where we're like going from task to task and like not making like a very concerted effort on something. He's talking about like, if you're going to like learn a subject or play a game or like do something that you're passionate about, then do it fully and do it for a long time so that you get like as much out of it as you can. Like, I guess the best example for me is like if I was gonna like clean my apartment or do some sort of task at work, like a project, then I would want to like actually go from start to finish and not just like kind of have some like maintenance where I just come to back to it time and again and so forth. So yeah, idleness, and then putting like your full like strength into the things that you put your attention on. And I think that's a challenge for us with ADHD. But after I had read this book, Education of the Will, like it's given me like a lot more I don't know, just inspiration to do that. So I'm going to be idle, and then I'm going to focus on things that matter, and I'll let you guys know where I am next week on this.
It's all about finding that balance.
Noise.
Yes, finding the balance, indeed.
One thing I remembered that I was gonna say, but I didn't, but you reminded me of it, Tim, is one of the podcasts I listened to, Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, Goldie Hawn was the most recent guest, and that episode was so good. Like, just I've never really been a Goldie Hawn fan. It's not that I didn't like her, it's just that she wasn't really on my radar, but her interview was really interesting, and that lady's been through a lot, and like she had something when she was really young that she was able to like, she was way too trusting, but when she found herself in situations that were dangerous, she was like, all right, I'm out of here. This is not for me. Anyway, that's not what I was going to talk about, but she talked about at length meditation and how like great it has been for her and how it can actually change the pathways in your brain.
Yeah.
So she was like a huge advocate for meditation and that reminds me that I need to get back at it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, if you, I can't succeed at normal meditation, like the like focusing on how you
Okay.
feel kind of meditation, or
Right.
like the breath meditation. But I can meditate by just like legitimately like sitting there and relaxing and just being
Yeah.
idle. Like that has been so helpful for me. So I definitely recommend that kind of meditation for sure.
I like guided meditation where
That's good too. I've done that before too. I like that.
guided is probably my favorite just because and I've mentioned this guy before, Jeff Warren on the Calm app. Um
Mhm.
which I also found out he also has ADHD, and that makes sense why I quickly gravitated to him as my favorite. But
Wow.
a lot of his meditation is basically reassurance that if you think you're doing it wrong, you're not, because there's no wrong way to meditate. Um it's all about like losing your focus and then coming back to it. Like that's literally what meditation is. So
Wow.
yeah. Um
I'm really glad you said that. Actually,
Meditation is for everybody, even people with ADHD.
yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Like develop your own like conception of what
Yeah.
meditation is for you. That's wonderful.
And I don't do it quote unquote correctly sometimes either. Sometimes there's a meditation podcast that I listen to sometimes when I'm cleaning. And I feel like it doesn't matter like what I'm doing, just as long as those words are, flowing through my brain and, you know, I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's
That's
no
really
wrong way to
interesting.
meditate. Like what might work for you might not work for someone else, but what works for them might not work for you. So yeah, you got to find your own way.
Yeah. Yeah,
Find
and
your own path with that.
that's really incredible that you said that. Because that's kind of what like Pastor Jim was talking about developing our own relationship with God. So we kind of have
Yes.
to do the same thing with
Yep.
meditation. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that's with everything.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, speaking of meditation, we have a lot of church updates.
Oh, okay.
Woo!
All right. Perfect.
So I hope everybody enjoyed April 13th. As mentioned,
I enjoyed April 13th.
that was a very packed day. But moving forward, we have on April 20th, Make a Joyful Noise. It's a praise concert benefiting the AV Children's Choir. Starts at 7 p.m. at the church. It's $10 at the door. On April 24th, Kids Club with Beth at 5:30, followed by Food for Thought in the social hall. And then on the 26th to the 28th, I'm not yawning because this event is going to be yawn,
No, that
but
was just a good yawn that just came in there
it
for the
was
announcement.
me making a joyful noise. Um,
Yes.
the women's retreat at Camp Wrightwood is going to be taking place. If anyone is willing to drive or needing a ride, please contact Jeannie at the office so there can be ride share arrangements made. And
I
then
would like to add that I am a driver. If anybody wants to drive with me, I currently have one passenger enlisted, but I have room for how many? Two more. Yep. I'm gonna
Yeah.
asking you.
anybody would like to join Beth's army, please
I
If
was
you
gonna
wanna
say like,
if you wanna ride in Beth's party bus,
yeah,
yeah, party
I have
bus or
room for two
The
more.
Beth Mobile.
Beth's party bus
yes,
army.
yep. And then on May 5th is the Spring Boutique. So vendors are needed. Make sure you connect with Beth if you have any questions or if you'd like to sign up for that. I do want to mention the mission team is putting together some pretty cool items for the spring boutique. So, just saying, lots of really cool stuff. So even if you don't make anything, there's going to be a lot of talented people from the church or from around that are going to have things for sale. A lot of things that are going to benefit the church. Additionally, if you have any questions for the podcast, please email methodisttothemadness@gmail or follow us on Instagram at methodisttothemadness, and you can get little snippets of episodes, and that's about it for church updates. Beth, back to you.
All right.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Jessica.
For the weather this week, we have, no, I'm just kidding.
We have snow.
So we probably do have snow. The weather's.
Wait, there was snow actually.
Oh, there was
Um,
snow.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would be surprised at this point if there
I
was
don't
snow.
think so either. I don't know what's happening, but
I don't either.
so we don't have a guest today, but what we do have is another email from Kathany Ankeny did I say Kathany Ankeny?
Yes.
Yeah, that's her new name. It's now
Kathany?
Kathany Ankeny.
Kathany.
That's your new name. I'm not even sorry. Kathany.
What's funny is it made sense to me, so I didn't really say much. I was
Right.
like,
I probably wouldn't have said anything if you didn't correct it, Beth. It's like, what? Maybe that is like her nickname or
It's like-
something.
It's like I said it, and then like my body levitated and was listening down at everything that I just said. And my
I love
body
that.
was like, Beth, are you okay? Like, probably not, but we're gonna go on anyway.
I love when our bodies levitate. That's such a wonderful thing.
Yeah, we levitate on this podcast.
By the way, I've said this before. I used to listen to the podcast, but I don't anymore because sometimes like I just can't with my voice. It's in my head all day. And then I listen and I'm like, is that what I sound like? But I have been really enjoying the little snippets that you put on Instagram. And I'm like, oh, us, we're delightful.
Yeah.
So
I think the last one
for the podcast.
Yeah, the last one I put on there, it was us saying egg. I remember that.
I remember that.
I did start listening to that episode a little bit, but then when it got to my ministry moment, I was like, no, I must stop. I don't know. So back to this email from Kathany Ankeny, apparently. The subject is keep those podcasts coming. And never mind. The body of the text is this. Wow, I thought I still had time to respond to your post-Easter podcast when you posted the Bright Sunday podcast. Way to keep them coming. Great work on the podcast ministry moment guests and keeping up with PUMC activities. Thanks, Kathy. Kathany.
Kathany.
I forgot to mention from your 3/21/24 podcast how much I enjoyed the talk about who people nose prosthetics. I occasionally wear a Breathe Right nasal strip, and sometimes I have to rip it off because it's a foreign feeling, even though it's there to help me breathe. So
Wow.
imagine not being able to breathe through your nose, plus singing, dancing, and talking. I know, right?
That's like going snorkeling underwater.
But you're singing with the fish.
Yes.
That's one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish.
That's a musical that's in an aquarium.
Anyway, I've grown to really appreciate the PUMC card ministry. They sent 2 cards since my sojourn in Texas, and it means a lot to see familiar names and know folks took the time to say hi. Thank you, card ministry folks. I got one of those cards, I think in February, and anytime I get mail from church, I'm like, oh no, like
Taxes I do.
what money do they need now? Or like, what did I do? Anytime I just feel like whenever anybody tries to contact me, I'm probably in trouble. I don't know
Yeah.
That's
so I'm
how I
like, oh
feel.
no, what is this? What could the church want from me right now? And then I opened it and it was like a lovely Happy Valentine's Day. We love you card. So I agree with you, Kathy.
Aw.
It's really nice to get mail that you're not expecting from
I
the
actually wanted to mention that Amber and I got one in the mail this past week, and it was like the most pleasant surprise ever. So
I
for
know,
whoever's
right?
trying to, what? It's
Tim,
very
you got one?
exciting. Yeah.
I think we need to mail one to Tim, you guys.
Yeah, well, actually, I've
And
been
then
kind
it'll be
of
blank on the inside.
I've been kind of Wait, when was Valentine's Day?
Sorry, February 14th.
Oh, I don't know what happened. I've been kind of delayed on my mail, and I'll just leave it at that. But see, maybe you might need to. Oh, God.
We'll have somebody transcribe a message and send it to you by horse.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so okay, I'll continue the email now. Beth, for future use, the pronunciation is Jonathan Rumi. That's the actor who plays Jesus on The Chosen.
Oh.
And your comment about sarcasm being your spiritual gift was hysterical and confirmed that we are indeed related. Most of my family are wickedly sarcastic, for better or worse. I'm the odd one out. Okay. Timazing, that's you, Tim. We're referring to procrastination, so I thought you'd appreciate a phrase I came across. You've probably heard it before, but I love it. Analysis paralysis.
Oh yeah.
And it
Right.
rhymes. Remember I said that earlier in our text exchange? If it rhymes, you know that I don't know.
Yeah.
Jessica or Jessica Awesome, thanks for your role in the production of MTTM and your wonderful insights. I first met you and Amber during a game night event at Pastor Jim's. You've both brought so much to our little PUMC family. Thanks for finding us and sharing your talents. You are always in my prayers. Love, Kathy Ankeny.
Aww.
Oh, that was so nice. Thank you so
Yeah,
much,
thank you,
Kathy.
Kat. Oh, I'm sorry. I mispronounced the name that I just gave you.
Kathany?
Anthony.
Kathy.
Oh, and I met with the ladies, the Women's Retreat Planning Committee, which is basically Lori Shaw, Angie Doyle, and me. And I basically said to them, if I'm not cohorts with Kathy, I'm gonna riot. I feel like Kathy feels the same way. Let me know if that's not true, but I will fight anybody to be cohorts with Kathy.
That's awesome.
Anyway, thank you for all of your amazing emails, Kathy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we really appreciate them.
Yep.
Well, I think it's time for some Sermon Feedback. You guys,
Sermon.
Sermon. Becca. I like it.
Hey,
Very
that's kind of
cool.
like El Toreo and El Toreo or whatever we were talking about last time.
Exactly. So before I jump into a brief overview of our new sermon series, I do want to mention that I did receive a response from Pastor Jim about our conversation about Thomas's twin and how we thought it was potentially Jesus.
Oh,
Do you guys remember that a while ago?
Yes.
yeah,
It's
yes,
not
yes.
not Jesus. And it's he mentioned that it's not necessarily, there's no like it's not really something that they know of. So
Okay.
they
Okay.
don't know at all. And I said to him, good to know or not know.
I think that we can kind of say that about everything. Good to know
Yep.
or not know. I like that.
Yes. The original Shakespeare thing was actually not to be or not to be, it was to know or not to know.
That is the
Ah,
question.
That is
that is
the fact. Yes.
that's
Uh,
perfect.
but this past Sunday, we started a new sermon series, Windows of the Soul, or as Pastor John likes to say, windows and doors are covered. So, Windows of the Soul, we went through Genesis chapter 3, verses 1 through 12. And a lot of the conversation came from a book by Ken Geyer called Windows of the Soul. And uh, and when Pastor Jim went through this, he mentioned there was another version of the book that's been published. I do know that the one that he referenced was Experiencing God in New Ways. So it was Windows of the Soul, Experiencing God in New Ways by Ken Geyer. Um, a lot came out of this. I loved how there was a reference in artistry and how we are created to have a longing for God. I enjoyed that. Um, God opens the windows to our soul, not us.
Mhm.
As much as we want to have control over us opening our own windows to things and trying to have control over our lives, that kind of stuff, God is the one that reveals that and opens that to us. So those are a couple things to start, but I'm curious if there were any key takeaways from you guys.
So, this is like, I don't know, I keep saying this over and over. I'm gonna have to actually write a list, but this is definitely one of my favorite sermons from Pastor Jim.
Cool.
Um, and I say that because I think it just as far as my faith experience has been concerned, like since I've like found God essentially after like just kind of not having faith for so many years, that has really been my experience like of God and faith and everything, like just trying to find God and everything. And so like Pastor Jim kind of put into words what I've been like kind of thinking about subconsciously or kind of feeling. And I'm just like super grateful regarding that, like understanding that he shared with us in this sermon. Like that really just like spells out like my path forward and how I can build my faith in a much stronger way. Like really finding God like through those windows of the soul. And just like having that like utmost appreciation or gratitude for things, or like just looking at the beauty in things, or just on some random morning just opening up the Bible and then looking at some scripture that just happens to stand out to us. It's like all these experiences just are can be so incredible and opportunities for windows of the soul. I'm just kind of speechless, honestly, at like how like powerful that is, that idea. I think that's just so helpful and so interesting, and just kind of like makes me more interested in all the ways that I can explore that, the like windows of the soul, like even just like the activities that I engage in, putting more like passion and appreciation towards those things, or just opening up the Bible and being curious. And something you had said, Jessica, reminds me of like kind of coming to God as a child would, and so forth. So yeah, so those are kind of my like overall thoughts, like just um like fully appreciating Pastor Jim's message. There wasn't one particular thing that stood out to me this time, but just the way that Pastor Jim explored all like that entire subject, which is so fascinating for me.
I love it. I love it. Beth,
Thank
any
you.
key takeaways on your end?
Um, I agree with what Tim said.
The end.
No, I did watch the sermon before I came on here. But I think I'm gonna have to watch it again with like a more, um, I can't even think of the word. My brain is so like not here today that I can't even think of the word that I'm looking for.
That's
But
okay.
with a lens, with with more of a fine-tuned lens.
Right,
Yes.
like a magnifying glass or
Like
Yeah.
binoculars.
binoculars. Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks. I
That's
said it first
awesome.
time.
But
Use
I'm
it.
gonna watch it with binoculars.
I really like that. That's a
But
good way.
yeah, but I always like I always like the idea of tackling anything the way a child would, because
Yeah,
there hasn't been anybody who has told them that,
Yeah.
I don't know, that
yeah. Hey, Beth, there is one thing that I don't know, something that you said made me think that I forgot to mention this in my check-in, but uh so while so I was in the same boat as you, like I was super busy yesterday. I was just trying to get things done and I just couldn't like attend church in person. So I was planning to watch it online yesterday, but I didn't get around to it. So I actually did exactly the same thing as you and I watched the sermon before our recording here. And I was on the couch and my dog Molly just came over and she wanted me to start petting her. So I was petting her, no problem, and
oh,
it was great. And I knew that if I stopped petting her, she was going to climb on me and lick my face. So I was just like a petting machine, essentially, for her. And then my dog Ruby, after Molly apparently was done, I guess she got bored of my petting or something. I don't know. Ruby came over and she started licking me, and then she was expecting me to pet her. So the entire time that I was watching the
stop
sermon,
it.
I was petting the dogs. And so like a practical application for me and like the sermon content, I was thinking like, well, my dogs like I think they really love me and that's like really cool that they would like want my attention that entire time. And so maybe that's kind of like the window of the soul kind of moment, like just appreciating how much like my dogs mean to me and stuff.
Yeah. Um, I like that you said that because I started a new curriculum series. I was cleaning out my office a little bit and there's so many video series, I don't know
Series.
what the plural of series is. But and the one that I decided is it's a treasure quest is what it's called. And each letter of treasure represents what we need to look for in God and Jesus. And the
Wow.
the first letter T is trust in God, I think. And I was watching the training video, the quote unquote training video, and it was talking about like imagine what if you had a fire in your house and you lost and you were about to lose everything, what would be the thing that you grab? I even told my Sunday schoolers this because I was just,
Wow.
but what the guy was saying, yeah, some people will grab all of their pets and others will let their pets fend for themselves. And I was like, what? Who is doing this?
What?
I
What
am
kind of pet
taking
owners
pets,
are
like
these?
like that is the first thing I'm doing is I'm getting all, well, my kids, they can get out of the fire themselves. I'm obviously going to help them, but they're not helpless little infants. So I'm going to be like, boys, grab a pet or whatever, and then we're out of there.
Right.
But basically, what you treasure you is what you would take out of your home if it was on fire. And
Wow.
that's my pets. And so and they and I and they have that childlike sense of wonder, like
Hmm.
every day is the best day ever. This walk is the best walk ever. And
Yeah. Oh my
I think
gosh.
that's why I love dogs so much.
Yeah. You're totally right about that.
Yeah.
Well, my prayer request has somewhat of a, I can relate a little bit to what you're sharing with for my prayer request, so I'm not gonna share it now because it'll be a Debbie Downer. But I will also share another thing I took away from the sermon. In everyone, I wrote this down because I was trying to figure out how to comprehend things, etc. I think we're all brainless tonight. I don't know if you guys feel that way, but we're
Uh,
all like we can't put our words together
No,
correctly.
I
the words
so
are bad.
Yeah.
yeah, I
Okay.
mean, I think we're all kind of on the same page. Like at
Yeah,
certain points, we're like, oh, we can say everything, and then suddenly, like, we just
I
have nothing
know.
to say. I said something about speechlessness. I at various
Yeah,
points I had pauses. I don't even know what's going on tonight.
yeah. Our transcriber will figure it out. So basically everyone, so I said everyone is a different artist in how they are searching for God and a journey in how their story is uncovered. When we can open our window of compassion and empathy, we can then see each other's soul, and the art they create is their journey of reaching for God, which is the same thing we are reaching for.
Wow.
So I love how like I didn't like I as someone who has like a massive appreciation for the arts and like a lot of, you know, in the medium of music, that's really been a soul, uh I guess I shouldn't say soul because that's part of the thing, but it's been like a massive and pivotal uh piece of work that has helped me to kind of live my life and understand parts of my life and then also help others to potentially understand their lives and just like through songwriting. And I do see how everyone has their own artistic, brushstroke on how they're approaching life and how they're experiencing their journey with God. And I just really appreciated that perspective because I don't think a lot of people realize how talented they are, like in their own very unique way. Like, Tim, you're really good at um, understanding things and being able to recite them back, and your intellect is just it's incredible. And I think that's a massive gift and something that you're able to also share with other people. And for Beth, there's just this massive sense of joy that you're able to bring to people. And I think that if you can bring joy and laughter to people, that's like in itself is just this massive contribution to the world. And so I see that as all different ways of painting the world and making it a more beautiful place. And anyways, I'm just really excited for the next 6 weeks of the sermon series because it's a 7 week series. Um, but but yeah,
Wow.
that's
Wow. Wow. That is so nice,
I
Jessica.
didn't know
Thank you
there would
so
be
much.
compliments in this episode.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
you have to warn a person.
okay.
But thank you.
Yeah, that was really
I
nice.
I don't attend church in the traditional sense that I used to anymore. And the 11 o'clock service was my service. I love the, you know, contemporary, the music and everything. And I went in there a little bit early yesterday to go get the kids for Sunday school, and I was able to catch you and Abby singing with Don. And I always love and appreciate your musical talent and the passion that you put into it. And
Yeah.
so thank you, Jessica.
Yeah, thank you, Jessica. And I always think back fondly. Maybe you have a note of this, Jessica, that you could even share on the podcast of that one time that, yeah, I mean, it was kind of like an unusual time because of COVID and all that stuff, but like basically the entire like praise band was like changed because Dawn could not be there and you led the band, and like I just really enjoyed all of those songs. Like if I could figure out what episode that was, I would listen to all of your songs again because I just think you have really like a talented like voice, and being able to sing like that, and
Yeah.
just like being able to play the guitar. That is so neat.
Well, I appreciate that, guys. I honestly, this past Sunday, being able to sing with Abby was probably one of my favorite times singing in worship. Like I love when the harmonies are tight and I mean it's just like I could really feel the spirit in
Yeah.
the church, and it was so good. Even when we were rehearsing, we were just like, let's do it again. And it was like, no, it's like 8:30. And so anyway, I mean, I um music is a huge part of my life, and I appreciate you guys saying that. Um yeah, I want to be able to continue. Maybe I'll have my own worship nights some night. I don't know. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would
Hey,
be fun.
yeah, that would be neat. We would attend, I'm sure. Beth,
I
I don't
I
know.
would love to attend as long as I don't forget about it on the day that it happens. And Tim, I'm not making fun of you because that happens to me all the time. I'm like, oh, I'm so excited for this thing. And then and then that day comes and goes. And then the next day I'm like, oh, I forgot about this.
Yeah. Oh my God. I appreciate that.
well, I think we can all agree it was a wonderful sermon. We're looking forward to the
Yes,
sermon series
yes.
and onward to prayer requests.
Yeah.
So, do you guys have anything you'd like to share for all 6 million listeners?
Um, I
I only
think
want to share with about three of them. So the rest of you three, you know who you are. The rest of you cover your ears. No, I'm just Jessica covered her ears. No, Tim, you go.
Okay. Um, the whole like I think blah 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 was associated with um I think that maybe the audience can predict what I'm gonna pray about, and that's that I continue on my my journey associated with like meditation and idleness and willpower and like doing things more attentively and so forth. Like maybe just prayers for me to like find that path be more illuminated. I think right now it's kind of like in the motion to be like lit up in the way that I need it to, but I got to make sure that nobody turns the lights off. And
Yes.
um, yeah, it's kind of like if somebody, what is it? Or I guess the opposite would be you're like asleep and then somebody turns the light on. I want it like the opposite where like it's during the Jessica just covered her webcam to indicate that the lights were turning
Oh,
off. But yeah, so pray so yeah, prayers for me to just kind of continue that like journey essentially on like finding purpose in my life by attending more carefully to the things that I enjoy and the things that I appreciate. And so I'm really grateful for this sermon series. I think it's going to give me that opportunity for like more appreciation, and I think that will lead me towards where I need to go regarding what I put my attention to.
Yeah. Yeah. Bethany,
Bethany.
I guess that would make sense because is your name, well, your name's Elizabeth, but I was going off of Kathany.
Wait, your name's Elizabeth?
that's the name. I was like, what's the? Oh, I was thinking Anthony, but Kathany. Bethany and
But
Kathany.
then I realized that's actually a name, so that there's like no joke. It just sounds like I don't know who you are.
Yeah. Wait, is
Co-host
it?
number two. Oh.
I don't
Wait,
even know who I am, so it's fine.
wait.
Let's keep it a secret.
Okay, go ahead.
Um, yes, I would like some prayers for me and Owen, I think that the issues we're having right now are probably normal, and it's just the teenager in him like wanting to push back on the boundaries that I have set, and I think that that's probably a normal process in, you know, the teenager and raising a teenager relationship, but I am also very sensitive, and I know that this isn't personal, and I know that this is probably not, it just, in my mind, everything feels like it's the beginning of the end. It's like,
Oh,
this
yeah.
is the beginning of my child hating me forever. And I know that that's probably not the case, and I think about, and I think about, people with addiction. I'm not saying that my kid is a person with addiction, but what I've heard about people who have addiction issues, and if it's a loved one of yours, like if an addict is happy with you, it's because you're enabling them.
Mm.
And I know that
Oh,
that's not the case with, I'm not saying that Owen's an addict, but I'm saying that if he were to be happy with me right now, it's because I'm enabling him, and that's not what I'm trying to do. I know we'll figure it out, and I know
Yeah.
that like this is the really hard part of parenting, where I'm putting my boundaries down and he's trying to move those boundaries, and he's
oh,
not
wow.
happy
Yeah.
when he can't move those boundaries because I'm pretty firm on them. And so I just need prayers of fabric softener between our relationship. I don't know.
Sounds like you both need brave pants.
We need
Yes,
both
spray
hands.
pants.
Yep.
I
And
mean,
also continued prayers for Lucy.
Yeah,
and for
absolutely.
your trip as
Oh
well.
yeah, and my trip, I'm coming up prayers that I don't have to pack in the Uber.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes,
Beth,
absolutely, Beth.
on the note of that, I mean, parenting, I don't know much about it other than with 7,000 animals, but
We'll
can
break your
say
heart.
I can say just from hearing other parents, like I think that's the hardest part is like when you have to put your foot down
Yeah.
because and I know whenever it is that I become a parent as well, I'm probably going to feel the same way you are because I'm super sensitive and I'm going to have a really hard time with disciplining and like keeping those boundaries because I don't want them to be mad at me. But it's like those are children and you have to do it out of love. And
Yes.
that's
Right.
really what it is. And I think remembering that you're doing it out of love because you
Yes.
want Owen to be a really solid human being. I think that's just what you have to remember at the end of the day.
Yes.
This is
Yep.
so
That's
he can
great.
become a solid human being, and it's so difficult.
Wow. I'm really
What
glad you said that, Jessica.
one of the I'm not going to go into detail about any of it, but
Yeah, we don't know.
one of the boundaries I put down like recently, like it, I didn't think anything of it, but the reaction that I got from him was so extreme that it surprised me, and it scared me a little bit, and
Yeah.
it had me second guessing everything because of like just how extreme the reaction was that I got. And it's just, when he was little, like when he was 3, he was a very kind of intense, dramatic kid, and I always said, if this is how he is at 3, I'm really worried about his teenage years. And I just gotta say, it's going exactly as I expected. Please pray for me.
The joys of parenting. You're gonna make it through, Beth, I
I
promise.
hope
Yeah,
so. Thank you.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Prayers for you, Beth.
Jessica.
Sincerely.
Well, I'll leave it on a really depressing note. So, as you mentioned about fires and going into,
Oh no.
so one of my battle buddies that I was in the military with, her husband called 911. They live in Georgia, and their porch was on fire. So he called
Oh.
911. He went in to go save their dogs, and the house ended up burning with him inside of it. And so, uh,
No.
just pray for their family. They have three boys. They all are in baseball. He was like their coach, basically, and incredibly sad. Uh, the one takeaway is that, he was a veteran as well. And of course, as a veteran, like we would never leave somebody behind, And so that's what he did. His intentions were to not leave anybody behind, including dogs in the house.
Oh,
So I feel like he put his brave pants on,
he
and
did.
um, I think he can definitely have his life remembered as an honorable individual. And so, but
Yeah.
just prayers for the boys and for my battle buddy, because that's incredibly devastating.
Yeah, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry that happened.
I'm
So,
so sorry, Jessica.
but
Wow.
other than that, prayers that I can get the drywall on my shed done. I don't know how to transition from that. It's just really,
Right,
really
yeah.
I'm trying to leave the podcast on somewhat of a lighter note.
I prayers that you get the drywall on the
Yes.
insulation properly so nobody has to see the insulation.
Now,
Thank
if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go cry my eyes out.
Sorry. Oh man.
No, but thank you for sharing that, Jessica. And yeah, prayers for your battle buddies family. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And if you want to, it's the McCrae family is who it is. So,
Okay.
yep. But until next time, Beth's got a flight to catch and an Uber to pack in. So,
It'll be a fantastic Uber packing experience.
yes.
I actually decided that I'm leaving from LAX and I do not drive to LAX. I've done it once and that was enough for me. We
Mhm.
almost died on the way home. We didn't. I'm being dramatic, but before
Again,
10
Beth has 2 seats left in her vehicle if anybody wants to ride there with her.
No.
The right way.
The 405 freeway is still my nemesis. If I find out I have to go on the 405, I'm not going. If I have to drive on it, no, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm staying.
Yeah.
I feel
So
the
I
same.
I did book a shuttle from it's a hotel that's near my house to LAX. It's one of those shuttles and
Cool.
I was just thinking like how am I gonna get there if nobody can drive me. I didn't even think about Ubering there from my house, so that might be a good possibility that I do.
Right. Well,
It'd be expensive.
Beth, have you
Well,
ever taken
no,
the
it's just an Uber from my house to the hotel where the shuttle is. So it's like
Oh, if I
last
meant
time I took
LAX.
the trip, it was like $12 or something.
Yeah, you
wait,
can totally do that.
Beth, have you ever taken the flyaway to
Yeah, that's what
LAX?
I'm taking, but it's like there's two different places that you can go. One of them is in East Palmdale and you can park your car there.
Oh,
But the one that's closest to my house, I'm so sorry, Amber. Sorry about we're almost done. The one that's closest to my house.
Nobody knows what we're referencing, which is amazing. Go ahead, continue.
I'm sorry, Amber, we're almost done. But yeah, the one that's like close to my house is you can't park your car overnight there. So
Gotcha.
sorry, Amber. All right, Jessica.
Thanks for
Well,
filling us in on that, Beth.
yeah.
Yeah.
And if you want to know what Beth is apologizing about, you're going to have to
You have
ask
to
us
do
in person or write a letter in. Transcribe it, send it by horse.
transcribe the
This episode is brought to you by horses and
horses, and be sure to get on the Beth Mobile for the best experience.
the party death bus. I'm just
Yes.
on that note.
Hey, thank you for listening.
Thanks for stopping by.
Very
Yeah.
fun.
Different places, we all have different names. No matter what life brings us, Jesus is the same. We're just your Methodist to the madness. Methodist to the madness.